everybody, and welcome back to another episode of First and Last. My name is Josh, and with me this week we have Joe.
Hey, man.
And Jimmy.
What is up, my pasta pals and fettuccine friends?
Oh,
Okay.
Bruschetta brosifs. Just embracing the entire Italian cuisine at this point.
What, like goulash gals?
Yeah, hey,
Hey.
I like it. Yeah. Linguine lovers. Oh, that got weird.
I feel like
Sorry.
I'm at an Olive Garden.
Yeah.
When you're here, we're family.
Yeah, I am.
Welcome.
Yeah. That was weird.
Well, this is going swimmingly.
I heard a story today, speaking of food, I heard a story that some guy was at an Arby's one time and he flushed the urinal and then steam shot out and burnt his dick.
What?
That can't be.
How is that possible?
Did you read this on Reddit or something?
I know I heard it. I heard it on a different podcast.
Steam from a like
Steam.
not one part of this makes sense.
No.
Steam, a urinal, burnt his dick. Like, how close are you to this urinal?
Well,
Arby's.
Also, it said like when he flushed the
Meats.
urinal,
Uh-huh.
and I thought, I don't think I've ever flushed a toilet until like after I've put my junk away.
That's another good point. Yeah.
Like,
yeah, he's
step
still
one,
just-
put it away.
just-
Step two, flush.
Was he still
Yeah.
peeing when he flushed?
He's
What's
like, oh,
happening?
it's getting full. I got to flush.
How trashed was this guy?
I don't know.
So he's saying that like a hot water pipe was hooked up to this. I don't think you run hot water to a.
Yeah, to a toilet or a urinal.
The case of DeJoey versus Arby's. Kenneth DeJoey claims that a urinal at a Colorado Arby's burnt his genitals. Frankly, that's at least scary. Okay, so yeah, that was the case in Colorado. A man claims that a urinal burned his genitals.
Huh.
I'm throwing this case out.
I'm throwing it up, but I would like the meats.
Is it possible he just peed into the sink and just hit the hot water?
I mean, I guess according to a
Seems
recent
more feasible to me.
This is according to a recent filed complaint. El Paso County Court, a man urinating in an Arby's restaurant in Monument, Colorado, claims a, quote, jet of steam shot out of the urinal and burned his genitals.
Yeah, he's just trying to get money.
I can't think of a more unlikely scenario.
What weird thing was he doing that it actually happened, and then why did he have to explain it to come up with a story in that
Like
heat
he
of
had
the
to
moment?
explain this to his wife or something.
She's like, "What's wrong with your dick?"
It was an Arby's thing. Steam came out. The urinal.
You should sue them. I should. He's too deep now. He's in too deep.
I'm in.
Listen, they
I'm
have
in.
the meats.
What was he doing with Arby's meats that really caused?
There's some complaint. There's a complaint here, and the internet's loading.
It's loading?
Yeah, the internet
loaded,
has to
man.
load, man.
Are you reading a Mad Libs? Is this?
What the hell is going on here?
Give me a
What are
thing.
you- what?
Steam.
What?
Give me a thing.
I don't know.
What
Yeah.
publication are you reading this from? What .net?
This
What
is
geosites?
abovethelaw.com is where I'm at right now.
Above the law.
Yeah, very reputable. I'm sure they checked all their facts.
Apparently that's not an experience anybody's prepared for. Apparently, except the employee at the Arby's. Excuse me, you're having this problem again? Apparently the employee
He
the
admitted
employee's
fault.
reaction was, "Oh, we're having like the toilet problem again." Like that was the employee's reaction.
It happened again. Did you say it into the microphone? To the back,
The magic steam came out of the urinal.
People's dicks are burning again. Their flesh is boiling.
We got those meats again.
Oh, jeez.
So
Water running from a hot spring?
welcome to First and Last, listeners.
We
That-
should have ordered Arby's tonight.
Yeah, can we
I'm sorry I didn't tell you
go
that.
back?
I'm sorry I didn't break it to you guys. I was gonna say that.
I have an
Free
Arby's gift
DoorDash.
card
Ooh,
that I bought.
Well,
Jamocha
that
shake.
kind of, you know.
pretty sure the Arby's closed.
Arby's for myself.
They have gift cards, huh? Who knew?
Everyone has a gift card. You could buy
I
a gift card for
guess.
me.
I-
Want to buy my gift card, Jimmy?
Really?
$100 gift card. You do it, you
Joshua
get $25
Lamar's
free.
Seems like a good deal.
Yeah. Huh?
Hey Joe, how does this show work?
Take a TV show and watch only the first and only the last episode. We order food in between. We've never done Arby's.
Arby's.
Next week we're ordering Arby's.
I like Arby's. Arby's is great.
I mean, you can't go wrong with a beef and cheddar.
They got a beef and
Plus,
cheddar.
they got the sauces.
They have all those
I
sauces.
live for those sauces.
Remember when they had that 5 for $5 and you could just buy just thousands of calories of things for $5?
Yeah.
And you could just
A
be
bunch of sandwiches,
a gross, disgusting glutton.
and some cheese sticks, and like random things.
Yeah.
I will say they have good mozzarella sticks.
Hmm.
You know, for shitty mozzarella
Did not know
sticks, they're
that.
pretty good.
Why not?
Jimmy didn't tell us what show we're doing.
No.
Are you gonna do it now?
Sure. Yeah. So this show is and our resident MD to the show. She's not an MD. She's a DPT. Doctor
You telling me you don't know what kind of
is
doctor
going to
your
be
wife
mad
is?
that we're doing ER tonight.
Ooh.
Da-na-na-na-na-na.
Shot George Clooney to fame.
Was that the reason why everyone knows who George Clooney
Hey, he
is?
was probably. I mean, he was in Roseanne before that. So this is 94, I think.
Mm-hmm.
NBC 331 episodes.
That's too many.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
I feel like it was like a big deal, like for like drama on NBC.
15 seasons.
It's like one of
Yeah.
their earlier hits, at least of that era.
I mean, I always thought of it as like a I always thought of ER as like a prime time, like a not a prime time, a daytime like soap.
What?
I think that's what I thought it was.
Did
as
you
a
think
kid
it was
in the
General
90s.
Hospital?
I think I confused it with General Hospital for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
just a show that's been on forever.
These
About
are the days
doctors.
of our lives.
George Clooney used to be in it.
I think George Clooney is the only thing I know about ER.
There's no way he was in it even through the entire 90s, right?
No, yeah, he for
Because
sure
he
left.
was huge.
Yeah. Another thing that I know is like George Clooney. It's the theme song. There's like a guy like pumping his fists in like the opening montage.
Pumping his. Are you thinking about the Breakfast Club?
It's kind of like
That's
that.
the
He's
end.
more on like on one knee, going like, "Yeah."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I feel like my childhood memories are of like watching NBC. Theme song comes on, and it's like, well, I guess it's time for bed or something. Like it's kind of late.
It means it's past my bedtime officially.
Seinfeld's over. I guess I should go now.
I mean, I just read that this is a television series created by Michael
Yeah.
Crichton.
Yeah.
And
Right?
I'm
So
in.
Josh is sold.
I'm now sold because Jurassic Park
it's
was
the
a
Jurassic Park.
You
Of,
see my
it's the sphere of doctor shows.
Do I have my Crichton section on my bookshelf, Joe, that you're looking
Oh.
at?
Yeah,
What do you got?
Oh, I got.
it's like the Jurassic
have,
Parks in Congo.
I think Sphere is in there too.
I don't think I ever
I like
finished
Sphere.
Sphere.
I read Sphere in one day.
Hmm.
It's
good.
really
that's
good.
that's the one that's like underwater.
Yeah.
It's like Sam Jackson.
Yeah,
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, I don't think I ever finished that movie.
it might be
Wonder what
Julianne
happens.
Moore. It might be
Nor the book.
somebody else.
Hmm.
No, isn't it your gal? Oh no, that's Contact.
That's Contact.
Fucking
Jodie
love
Foster.
Contact.
Jodie
Foster.
Foster.
Jodie
You love
Foster's.
Contact, but you didn't finish Sphere.
Yeah,
That's
they're
interesting
kinda,
to me.
Kind of similar movies.
What does that say about you? I'm gonna think about that.
Just love Matthew McConaughey is what it says about me.
That's fair. So the only other person I know that's in this show is Maura Tierney, who is the gal from Men in Black.
Who's she in Men in Black? She's the
Smith's
doctor
boo?
in Men in Black.
Yeah,
She's great.
pretty sure. You click on her face.
It's a good movie. So is she like a doctor in this too? Because she was a doctor in Men in Black, right?
I think she's the doctor in Men in Black.
Is she a doctor in real
Tell
life?
me. Oh, she's also Lynn in Semi-Pro. She's Woody Harrelson's girlfriend.
I mean, this is one of those shows that like it was on from 1994 to like 2009, or is that right?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
feel like there's like a lot of rotating characters.
There's no possible way like anybody in the first episode is gonna be in this last episode,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, I don't know.
I feel like we
man.
should make
I don't
predicts
know.
based on
I
like
mean, I say that
this guy's gonna be in the last episode.
you know what's funny is I say that because I'm like, it was gone for 15 years. There's
Mhm.
no way. Supernatural's on 15 seasons and it's got the same
Yeah.
two dudes.
They're going nowhere.
Oh no, she's the girl from News Radio. She's the girl
Maura
from
Tierney
Men in
is?
Black.
Oh, wait. So Maura Tierney
Maura Tierney is
is in ER
Girl
or
from-
no?
yeah.
Okay,
Um,
but she's not in Men in
she's
Black.
also the opposite Jim Carrey in Liar Liar.
Okay, then I don't know who this person is. I don't think if she's not in Men in Black, then I don't know. She's not always a doctor.
I mean, okay, so it's a medical drama. It's where is it? Chicago?
Nah.
ER of a fictional county general hospital in Chicago.
Okay, yeah.
Nice. I
So-
was way off. It's not.
I mean, I yeah. I mean, it's gonna
Perfect.
start off.
I
All
feel
right.
like it's just the '90s Grey's Anatomy.
Let me
Was
lay
Grey's
down.
Anatomy on in the '90s? That show's also been going on forever.
Let me lay down the first episode for you.
Yeah.
Do it.
Starts off. You see the outside of the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Scene outside hospital. Couple doctors are walking in. Like, all right, sweet. Today's Monday. Now we're starting to work.
Mm-hmm.
Who's this new guy?
Mhm.
Is his name John Dorian? Wrong show. It's a different guy. His name's George Clooney.
Okay.
He plays himself.
Do you think he's doing rounds?
I-
Dr. George Clooney.
5-10 minutes goes by. Gunshot victim. Get into the ER.
Yeah, because it's got to be like trauma because it's ER, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone gets shot before they get to the hospital. They get to the hospital. The doctors
Get
work
shot
on it.
again.
New guy has to like deal with it. He's like, oh man, this is intense. I don't know if I can handle it.
Uh-huh.
Kind doctor woman is like, hey, you can do this, buddy. And he's like, awesome.
Thanks.
I think I'm going to love you for a couple seasons.
Oh, heck yeah.
There's like some sort
And
of,
she's like,
you're
but
gonna-
I'm married.
but I'm married
Oh,
for
man.
now.
Yeah.
There's some sort of like Frasier bulldog type doctor.
There's not a bulldog doctor.
There's a bulldog.
No way.
Yeah.
Is he a surgeon? He's for sure a surgeon, right?
Yeah. And the show ends at the end of George Clooney's first day as a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So is he like a John Dorian, as in that he's doing rounds? He's like an intern his first year, or is he official?
I don't think he's like a student.
Okay.
I don't know how that works. You get transferred. I think
Nobody
he's a
knows.
little green, but I don't think he's like full on forest floor foliage green.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that-
Yeah.
is that-
Okay.
I think what would be really interesting is, again, it's trauma, so like shit's gonna go wrong. What if just like all of the patients in this episode die? Like, what if they bring in like 3 different patients from 3 different things and they all just die?
Oh, that gunshot victim's
Dang.
gone.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be just dark
And then they're just like, here's the show.
for a
See you next week.
'90s NBC.
I think
I feel
someone
like
gives.
they gotta save the last guy.
Yeah, maybe they save the last
Save
guy.
the last patient.
I think someone gives
Finally
George
get
Clooney a
it.
sandwich.
Just like hands him a sandwich.
Yeah, like
Eat
he's
this.
down on his luck, and he's like, "Man, all these people keep dying," and they
What
give
kind
him
of
a sandwich, like just a ham and cheese.
All right.
Just like
Yeah.
ham, cheese, bread.
Yeah, maybe
Kind of
butter.
bread.
Ham before that, I guess. Also,
Yeah. Bread's in the middle.
Wait,
and
ham's
on the
ham's
outside.
on the outside?
I realized I did that wrong, and I just leaned into
Ham, slice of ham, slice of cheese, bread in the middle,
it. Bread.
But the bread's
Mayo.
butter. The bread's butter.
another slice of Kraft single.
Then ham.
Oh yeah, that's
Bread's got to be butter.
It's not good cheese.
Yeah.
Huh.
Country crock.
It's the classic. It's the Dr. George.
Yeah, it's not even butter. It's margarine.
I'll have the Dr. George. Oh,
You
yeah,
know
'cause
that
it's
like
mid-90s.
for the first like 28 years of my life, I thought that like country crock was just butter. Like I was raised on country crock, and I had
Can't
no
believe it.
idea that like it wasn't butter. I just thought that was butter. Like there's
I
just
mean,
soft butter, and then
I
there's
feel
other
like
butter.
There's
an
butter in
exact
a tub.
commercial of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the butter in the tub, or you get the butter in the stick.
Yeah,
But
it's
the
just
butter
country
in the
crock
tub
either
is
way.
not
But the
butter,
butter
right?
in the tub is always can be cold and smooth.
Yeah,
But the butter in the stick, if it's cold, it's fucking impossible to work with.
exactly.
Mm.
So I've always just had country crock.
But
Always
yes,
thought
the
it was
butter in the tub is not butter.
Now I know.
It's margarine,
Can't believe it.
which is like it's just butter. Like I mean,
It's
who's?
just butter that gives you cancer is what it is.
I'm
Didn't
sure.
they-
I'm
We're
sure
drinking.
butter gives you cancer.
It gives you heart disease. That's probably what it gives you. I don't know.
Everyone dies sometime. Why not die with margarine in your
Yeah,
body?
Die a buttery death.
Okay, in that scenario, why wouldn't you just eat normal butter then?
Because you got to keep it out in the cupboard or something, so it
Keep
stays
like a
You
warm.
half
spread it.
stick out.
You spread it easier with margarine.
Yeah.
Butter me up. Margarine me up.
Okay, let's go butter Joe up. Watch an episode.
Yeah, should we just watch this first episode?
Sure.
Almost for surely called pilot.
Probably called.
All right,
It's called A Hard Day's Night. Wait.
Oh.
that doesn't make it. Well, that
Wait,
that
where are we? No,
sounds
that's
weird.
Grey's Anatomy. It's- I was looking up when that was. It was mid 2000s, so not at all. It's called 24 Hours. Ooh.
Oh, I think I'm right,
dope.
Do you guys think this beer kind of smells like butter?
Joe.
Well, now I do.
Like, does it not smell like popcorn to you?
Audience, can you tell me? Do you?
I think it smells like fruits.
Well, we're gonna watch this first episode, and Joe will get back to you on what he thinks his
Tweet
beer
at us
smells like.
what your beer smells like.
I would like the idea of people listen to this podcast if they're just at home and they're like, gonna open a beer, gonna order food, and just eat and watch this show with these guys.
Man, that'd be the best.
So yeah, we'll see after the first episode of ER.
24 Hours. Jack Bauer.
And we're back. We're done with the first episode of ER. 45 hours later, we finished first episode of ER.
24 hours.
Yeah, 24 hours,
Yeah.
more like 25 hours.
Got him.
It was an hour and a half.
I heard you. Did you workshop that joke about 20 hours
I
ago?
did.
think.
The last time, though, it was 24 hours. They should have called it. I guess that's pretty accurate.
That's approximately how long we've been watching this show.
Man, I mean, yeah, the show, it was an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
It felt longer.
Well,
Like not maybe
a lot happened.
It was just like I turned to Joe, and I was like, man, this just feels like it's not like skits, but it's just like, oh, this doctor treats this patient, this doctor treats this patient,
Yeah.
next patient, next patient, next patient. It was just like, how many patients can we get in an
It's
hour and a
not your
half?
typical like doctor show because every little scene felt like it had a lot of weight to it. Like this character's gonna be like, and then you never saw them again.
Mhm.
You know, they're just passing in and out.
Yeah.
Like an ER,
We did Saint Elsewhere a few episodes back.
right?
And it's a similar structure to the episode in that it's the 24 hours of just this hospital. But I felt like in this one there was many more like vignettes, I guess. Because yeah, there's like
Yeah.
2 to 3 minute scenes of just like a doctor treating a patient that's coming into the ER. And sometimes we come back to patients and sometimes we don't. So you don't really know what matters or like what
Yeah.
to like keep track of.
I mean, I wrote. There was a possible baby beating. There was an old man aneurysm. There was a stab wound. There was a car
Uh-huh.
crash, toe
Yeah,
injury.
I gave up on.
Yep.
The head nurse OD'd.
Okay.
after she left work.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
They never came back. Like literally, she came back from work halfway through the episode. Had OD'd. They think, and then they never came back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like there was 30 minutes left.
I
in the
read
episode.
that. Did you guys read that? So this
She OD'd in
pilot-
real life, and they just filmed it.
this yikes. This pilot that's almost darker than what I was gonna say. That this pilot is pretty unchanged from the screenplay that Crichton had written in like 1974.
Huh.
Except a couple characters changed like race or gender, and it was going to be a movie with Steven Spielberg on, but they decided to make it into a pilot.
They decided to cash in for 15 years instead of one summer blockbuster.
But so in the big thing that changed from the original screenplay is that Carol, who's the head nurse or she's all important nurse, ODs, she dies in the original script. So like that would have been a big conclusion to this really sad movie that they turned into a show.
They turned it into a potentially really sad, somber show.
So yeah, this pilot is 87 minutes?
Yeah.
And I wish I would have counted from the beginning, but I feel like we got at least 20 segments.
Of like
There
them,
might
like
have been
20 different.
There might have been
helping people.
87.
I'm just like, yeah, this doctor dealing with this patient. Next scene, this doctor's dealing with this patient.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
He hardly even came back.
I mean, there was like, you can read a description if you want, but it's almost like hard in my mind to do it.
I've for a second there, I thought you had a description of every interaction.
No.
Just a lot of
That would have been amazing.
There's-
I can read what this says.
Sure.
It basically just lists a little bit more of the characters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there are some reoccurring characters in this episode.
I have 4 characters written down that I thought were important. Basically.
Okay. Who do you got?
Well, I have Dr. Benton, who was the black doctor, who was
surgeon.
he was sort of a
ER
surgeon.
He resident.
He
wasn't supposed to be leading anything.
But he had a new doctor guy, kind of like that he was like, quote unquote, training or just showing the ropes like super fast at some points.
Yeah, he had an intern. Dr. Carter.
Okay, that's who, I didn't have that guy
John
written down because I
Carter,
didn't remember what his was. I feel like the main character was Dr. Green. I feel like in anything, like he was the only one that like he left the hospital for a minute,
And he's like the guy with glasses.
Yep.
Okay.
He's the one that was trying to go to sleep at the beginning and slept at the end.
Right.
It's like he booked.
Yeah, we followed him the most.
Yeah, he bookmarked the whole episode.
Right.
We actually saw some of his personal life, like with his wife and kid, and then he goes and looks at a private practice where he'd make like 10 times the amount of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's probably the main.
And then there was obviously Clooney, who's Dr. Ross, who
Yeah.
we got introduced to Clooney when he was drunk.
Yeah.
Or
he
something.
brought in
great.
drunk.
And then Dr. Green like administered an IV to him so he could like be sober again.
That was great. Dr. Green's first patient
Yeah.
was a drunk George Clooney,
Yeah.
who's also his coworker.
And then the only other guy I wrote down who wasn't even in this very much, but that was William H. Macy because he was the chief of medicine. So there was more obviously.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like Nurse
So
Carol.
Yeah. Nerdy glasses doctor, nervous black doctor, Clooney doctor, young doctor, and Nurse Carol.
There was also a lady, was she like a lab tech or something who she was more in like the second half, who was with Green often. They like ate lunch quick or something. And she had a couple of her own.
Oh, yeah,
the one
vignettes.
with like the lung
she was the
cancer.
one-
yeah, there was lung cancer man.
Yeah, Mr. Parker, who's the late Miguel Ferrer, I think is how you say it.
Well, that guy
he's
got
in
killed.
so
that guy
much.
died with
He's
his
in
lung
a
cancer?
lot of things.
He died of throat cancer.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Did he actually die in that?
I mean, not in the show.
She
Like in
gave
real
him a-
life, he died of throat cancer.
Oh wow. Okay. So yeah, in
Because he,
2017
like his character, smoked a lot.
yeah, well, that's what you do.
Yeah.
But he was a very prolific. It's interesting to see like This is probably one of the biggest pilot casts we have seen
Yeah.
on this pod
Well,
for sure.
It's a huge
You
pilot
just
cast,
scroll
but it's
through
also
the
like
IMDb.
A huge
90,
showcast.
1994. So it's like one of those shows where it's like a lot of these people weren't that big,
Yeah.
and they
I mean,
were
none of them
all
were, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, I don't
Miguel
feel
probably
like,
wasn't
I feel like Clooney
a
and Macy
household
were
name.
always huge.
The Clunes.
William H. Macy
Yeah.
was only a couple of years away from starring in Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah. This is where Michael Crichton found him.
Yeah,
Apex Mountain for him is Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah.
The Lost World.
That's not
Yikes.
right.
That's not right?
That's-
Okay.
Jurassic Park 3 doesn't have a subtitle. It's just Jurassic Park 3.
Jurassic Park 3, Fallen Kingdom.
Risen Kingdom. It's got to rise to fall.
But yeah, a lot of characters.
Yeah. I thought it sucked. Can I just come out and say the pilot of ER sucked?
Man.
Like there was maybe like 2 scenes I was like engaged with.
Which ones? Yeah, I
the
wanna-
one where there's a baby that's brought in who's like
Yeah.
has like a lot of like
He's a battered child.
Yeah,
Obviously,
like-
there's something wrong with his
a
baby.
lot of trauma, like even beyond just like the bruises that he has coming in. They
Yeah.
can tell that he has like
Formerly healed.
yeah, formerly healed like cuts and bruises and stuff. And then so when the
Burns.
mom comes in, like Clooney yells at her and he's like, "I try to be understanding, but this stinks." And I'm like, "Fuck yeah."
Clooney nailed that. He
Yeah,
really
he's
shines.
great.
You're like, get it, Batman.
Yeah.
There was not enough Clooney in this episode.
So like that scene was fun, and then the other one I think where Dr. Benton has to do that surgery on his own. Like that's pretty, and like they build up
Yeah.
to that too. Like they like gear up with him like putting on his gear to like do the surgery that he's not sure about, and then they cut to commercial.
Yeah, they try to give
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
like at least like a 5-minute kind of like big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like the doctor lady, and the
The smoking man.
smoking man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that all the other stuff we've been talking about. Those
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
those other people's things. But yeah, it didn't do a really good job. It basically exemplified like the hospital as a character more than it exemplified anybody else's characters. You know, you figured out that people were important in the show and will be important. But besides knowing that essentially, and knowing that maybe Dr. Green might want a different job, but
Yeah.
obviously probably won't take a new job.
Uh-huh.
Most of the time you're just like, man, this hospital's crazy, right? Like
Uh-huh.
that's really what I got out of most of it.
And most of the scenes, even like between doctor to doctor, they don't really have much of a difference in character. It's just like this doctor, whoever it is, whether it's Dr. Ross, Dr. Green, Dr. Benton, that it's like they're super smart, they care about what they do, and they don't get respect, or like the patients are hitting on them. And
Oh yeah, forgot about sexy thigh burn girl.
yeah,
That was one
that
too.
was odd.
that was just the
Yeah.
segment that we had.
Yeah, there was a weird sexually charged moments throughout this where like Dr. Green is married, but Dr. Ross, who's George Clooney, is like, "Hey, how about you and that like one tech lady?" And he's like, "No." I'm
And that was
married."
like
and
we never saw anything about that. He just like
No.
mentioned it
He
once
just
and it
mentioned
never
it.
came back.
Uh-huh.
And then but then also Dr. Green's like hanging out with the other doctor lady quite a bit in this.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like they're like insinuating that. I'll get to my predictions. But then you had Clooney, who was just like expectedly flirting with people
Mm-hmm.
like you do. But then he has his turn and has his like heroic baby beating shaming moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He definitely had the biggest like
Trying to-
range
I
in
was trying
his
to
character.
think if you said that like Clooney beated a baby and then got shamed for it. I think he said it right. I think what he said was right.
It's the episode starts off hot with there's like this news report of a building collapse and all these patients come in and they have to deal with them
yeah.
at the same time, and that's maybe the first 20 minutes or so of the episode,
Yeah.
and then it
If
sort of just
even.
keeps going,
So, yeah, I
and like the
kind
energy kind of stops
never
after that,
ends.
and it's just like segment after segment.
of thought they were gonna do that. We're like they didn't introduce anybody, and it's like,
Mhm.
whoa, building broke. Everyone needs to come to the hospital.
Yeah.
It's nuts. And I thought they were gonna do that to just go, look how crazy this is, and then they were gonna slow it down and like actually introduce us to people.
Mhm.
But instead, they just like were like, no, we're just going to keep going and have little segments with all of them.
Yeah.
But it's just like, they're like, doctor. And like,
And none of those, except for like the two that I mentioned, I don't think any of those segments are that interesting. Like,
I'm like 50-50 on what you're saying. I'm not where you are, where I like hated it, but if I just watched this episode and then you were like, are you excited about episode 2? I'd be like, no, I'd rather watch something else.
Can you imagine like
week to week too? I wouldn't wait a week to watch what happens in episode 2 in this. I just wouldn't care.
If this thing was 87 minutes, this is probably a 2-hour premiere.
Yeah, it's definitely 7 to 9.
Can you imagine watching this for 2 hours with commercials and then being like, cool, I'm going to watch that again next week?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
A lot of people did that.
Yeah, I know.
28 million people watched that.
The premiere? What about week 2?
Or sorry, 24. And then, hold on, I got to scroll back because this show was huge. Week 2 is 23 million. So they lost 1 million. But but then it went up steadily. And then all of season 2 is in the 30 million.
Wild. I can't believe it.
Well, here's the deal.
Hit 42.
I'm not trying to like disparage
That's so
that
many
because
million.
it's insane. But we also have to think about this in the terms we are watching this show and it happened in 1994. But like, is it a good show because it's a good show, or is it a good show because it was in 1994 and the internet didn't fucking exist and no one could stream and watch whatever they wanted whatever they wanted. Like, if this show kind of did exactly what it did in 2020, is this gonna like make someone want to watch, like, unless it's just all on Netflix right away? Like, if you have to literally wait a week and watch it on regular TV and you're not 55 years old, you know, you're a young adult, which are the people that are gonna decide how entertainment works now. Like, are you watching this? And I don't think like this is quite what I mean. So I'm not saying it's bad. Yeah. Because, I mean, people touted, because no show today gets 24 million views. It's just not gonna happen. Like, Game of Thrones got like 8 million at some point on HBO, and that was like insane. Yeah. What is it? Big Bang Theory was at like 11 million a lot.
Sure.
I mean that show's objectively shit. Yeah. But like, it's also only 30 minutes long.
I wonder if that context
and easily digestible
does matter. Of like, if this was like, you know, a big shift in how NBC is promoting shows, and this has this big like serious drama, maybe that's a unique thing that people are like, this is important, I need to watch this. But in terms of just the straight up entertainment value, like, man, tough watch, I think.
It's based on what was available. Yeah. And what was before it. This is probably pretty cool and new. Sure.
Actually, I did read that they were nervous. NBC was nervous about doing a show like this so close to after St. Elsewhere had wrapped.
I think they filmed it in the same hospital.
Yeah, well,
because there's some hospital like stopped. It's an abandoned hospital that they.
Yeah, it couldn't have been because it was a hospital that stopped being serviceable in like 1990. So there's no way.
Because St. Elsewhere was before that, right? It was late 80s.
Yeah, it like ended in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that the pilot of St. Elsewhere had like more energy and more of a cohesive like thing going on.
But I think that might also just be because we learned a lot more about the characters in that show. Like we cared about some of the people. Like, the thing I cared about, I think, the most in this episode was the baby.
Yeah.
I care about George Clooney.
And I was sad. I was sad about how embarrassed the nurse is going to be when she wakes up from her OD and everyone knows that she OD'd.
It would be very awkward.
So like, I wish they would have given more time to characters. Like the hospital was the character in this. It wasn't bad. I'm not with Joe where I thought it was bad. Yeah. But I am with Joe that it wasn't good enough to make me want to watch more. Even though I'm going to watch another episode.
I also read that that first like 24 million it was also opposite Monday Night Football,
What?
which is like it did crazy surprisingly well.
What game?
So then they
what was
moved
the
it.
game?
Yeah. What are the teams?
Probably the
God.
Vikings crushing it. But so then after that first week, it did so well that they moved it to a better night, and then it just crushed. They moved it to like Thursday night. And it was also like starting opposite some other show that they thought was going to crush it.
Oh, it was the Detroit Lions versus the Dallas Cowboys.
America's team.
Yeah, America's team.
Also, 90s Lions. Early 90s Lions.
yeah. Who's on that team? Who's on that?
Is Barry Sanders still in the
Yeah.
94 Lions?
Yeah.
Because
Tim
that's a
Allen?
big game then.
Kid
I'm going
Rock?
to Google it. You guys
You
do
get
it.
Troy Aikman.
Eminem.
Aikman versus Eminem. Halftime show.
So, yeah, I don't know. Well, Jimmy, you haven't said what you've thought about this. You can dissent. If you liked it, it's okay, Jimmy.
It was a lot. I don't see how Michael Crichton thought this was going to be a good movie to
Yeah.
make.
Wild.
What was the conclusion? I mean, and maybe, yeah, I don't know. Because it literally says that basically the script is pretty untouched. But I feel like they've got good characters there that I can see how from here it takes off.
Good actors.
Like I can see how you have great actors.
Oh, there's
you
no
have
doubt about
characters.
that.
You have potential. So
You know
as
what-
long as people tune in next week, now you only have to fill an hour, and you can make some good. You
Right.
can build. You can build on a lot of
Build
what's
some
going on.
stories.
I mean, and in 1994, it's easy to assume that if you get 24 million people, you're probably going to get 12 million back the next week.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty easily,
Yeah.
I would think, because once again, 94, there's only like 8 other shows on at 7 p.m. like on a Monday.
Yeah.
So that is that. But yeah, there's no doubt that the cast is strong and really good based on their track record in the last 26 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But based on that one episode.
If I'm a lady, I'm tuning in for Clooney alone.
For the Clunes.
Why do you got to be a lady? Clooney's good for everybody.
Why do
Yeah,
they
no, that's
like?
true.
I had like multiple women hit on Dr. Green, and I'm like, why are they like trying to get at Dr. Green when Dr. Clooney's here?
They didn't see Dr. Clooney. They only saw Dr. Green.
That's true.
They would have hung out for a second longer.
What else? Anything else? Maybe you tune in to see how the intern Carter is faring. I don't know.
Maybe. I'm ready to get into predictions.
Yeah,
I think.
let's do it.
I think we said our piece about this first
Hour
song.
and a half.
I'm
long
curious-
show. You could have a lot of predictions.
And obviously, before we get into predictions, I guess, I mean, it's a 15-year. The show went on for 15 years. Like, this is going to be impossible, I think, for the most part, to like pick what's going to happen in this last episode.
well,
I mean, it's already going to be impressive to see who's even there still.
Right.
And I think I said this before, but if I didn't, I'm banking on Dr. Green. But who knows?
right.
We'll see. But so I'll do mine first. Clooney is back. I think Clooney owes a lot to ER, and I think Clooney knows that he owes a lot to ER. So I think last episode Clooney makes it a cameo.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I think someone eats a sandwich.
Do we all have that?
I have Clooney cameo.
Yeah, I do as well.
Okay. So, yeah, we all know that Clooney owes this.
And we all know he's leaving.
Yeah, and there's no way he was there for 15 years. How's he gonna do Ocean's 11 and 12 and 13? So second one, someone eats a sandwich.
Okay.
Because doctors get hungry. I think the third one is Dr. Ross goes into private practice. So I think one of his things, this one was he was looking at that Harris firm or whatever, that private practice, and there's obviously no way he picks that. I don't think in like episode 2 he's like, I'm gonna go private practice and we're gonna bounce back between this hospital and the regular one.
So Dr. Green goes into a private practice? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Jumps ship.
Yeah. And then I think this ends with this kind of the same way it ended in this one, where someone's like goes to sleep, or like a doctor goes onto like the on-call room or whatever, and is like done with the day and like goes to sleep. And maybe they get like woken up, but I think it's kind of like pretty very similar ending to this one.
Okay.
Cool. Some bookends.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had Clooney's back, Dr. Ross cameo.
So you think Dr. Ross is not necessarily on the show, but he's also cameoed?
Dr. Ross is Clooney, right?
Oh wait, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Green. I went.
Yeah.
I died. I died a little bit.
The hospital is on fire.
Oh god.
I think that
Literally,
shit's
because
hitting
it was
close to home.
figuratively on fire. I think this
It's
whole
literally in flames. I think they have some leftover B-roll that they're trying to like burn through. So I think that we get a shot of the Chicago skyline.
A lot of L trains.
Yeah. No, it's specifically skyline
Okay.
shot.
Okay.
They are elevated trains, but they're not in the
So
skyline.
it's gonna be like the Wire finale.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
just, okay, I got it.
And then my last one, I think we get a dino.
Soar?
Yes.
Okay. Is this like gonna be your new octopus monster?
I don't know. A dinosaur. We'll see. Michael Crichton.
I hope Sam Neill's in this episode.
Oh man. Yeah, I could use with more. I was excited to see William H. Macy of Jurassic World 3 fame. That's not true.
No.
No one knows that. But I would love to see some more Michael Crichton cameos.
Mm-hmm.
Who would that entail?
Laura Dern.
Oh man, love Laura Dern.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Okay, anyway, my number one is that they just replay this first episode, and that's the finale.
Well, it's like
That's a prediction.
younger doctors.
It's like another hour and a half. Yeah, they just recast. Okay, my number one is that I think Green is divorced.
Okay.
I feel like they kind of played up some strain in that relationship. I think I put Green is the William H. Macy. I think he's
chief
the head of
chief-
yeah,
med
he's
chief?
the chief
Mhm.
or whatever, chief of ER. Then I think Carter is the Dr. Green. So maybe Carter wakes up, is getting woken up,
Okay.
and then he goes to sleep at the end. I think he's a
Sleepy
lifer.
doctor.
He's a Sleepy docs. That's what we learned about this. is
hour and a half, and we just watch him take a nap.
no sleeping. And then my 4 was Clooney cameo.
Clooney's back. We got that one. I know we got it.
Easy.
No
point.
way,
I hope
right?
so.
Easy point.
Over under 5 dead bodies?
Oh, under.
I'm going over.
5. I'll go 5. 5
Five,
dead bodies.
exactly.
Exactly 5. Shoot. I feel like that's gonna happen now. I feel like we willed that to existence. How many beaten babies? Over under?
I'm going 0. I'm going 0.
Hoping for 0. How many swallowed keys or whatever by children? That was a funny bit.
Yeah,
The kid had swallowed a key, and the mom's freaking out, and Clooney's like, "What's the big deal?" And she's like, "How am I gonna get into my house?"
And then Clooney just starts
He
laughing.
just laughs, and the kid laughs.
It was pretty good. That one was pretty good. Let's see. All the way down to the bottom of the episode list, we're gonna see season 15, episode 22, the last episode of ER. 16 million, by the way,
Okay.
viewers
In 2009.
Yep.
Still pretty good.
And it's called "And in the End." ...
Ooh, got an ellipsis,
Yep.
so we can reboot.
So we might be able to reboot. Yep, that's right. So we'll see you after the finale of ER. You ready, Joe?
Yep.
Are you sure?
I'm just reading some triv.
Can you handle it?
Maybe.
And we're back. We're done with the final episode of ER.
We did it.
I feel complete. I feel whole. I feel
We're
like
here.
TV has reached its pinnacle.
You guys are dicks.
Tied it all together.
It tied nothing together. There was no tying.
I feel like I watched a higher quality version of the first episode of that show, which leads
Sure.
me to wonder:
Yeah.
is every episode of this show just like 45 different patients getting into
I
the
think so.
hospital?
Yeah, I wonder.
I think so.
All
I think it's
three-
just very fast paced.
Is all 1,500 episodes of the show just 20 different cases? I mean, it's crazy. Do you have like a write up for this one at all?
Yeah.
We
So
didn't-
here's what it says. The plot to and in the end ... As Carter prepares to open a new facility for the underprivileged, some old friends / colleagues gather. Rachel Green, Mark Green's daughter, applies for an internship at County. This is the county hospital.
Oh, that's it.
Chicago. Chicago County. What?
It's like County General.
County General.
County
that's what
General.
they-
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I wrote a couple cases. We have AIDS man with cancer.
Yeah, that was Mr. Gandhi.
We have drunk teen,
Oh yeah.
which that took then John Stamos, who was in this, into I need to talk to my daughter about drinking
Yeah.
scenario.
They
So,
often
like,
referred to her as alcohol poisoning girl.
Yeah, alcohol poisoning.
Poison girl, and she was in a coma.
Mhm.
She drank so much that she's probably not mentally okay anymore.
She didn't look
Oh,
great.
yeah, I forgot that they never really resolved that.
Well, I mean, yeah, she was coming.
She woke up.
and then he was
kinda.
like, "It's gonna
Mhm.
take an hour or two, and we'll find out."
Mhm.
We'll see. She wasn't really responding.
There was a bloody pregger. She dead. She died.
Yikes. Yeah,
There
some
was
twins were born.
the rosary boy,
Yeah.
little Mexican boy who
It's
like
kind of a fun.
he ate and he was just so smiley and cute.
He ate a rosary.
He was so funny.
That was a good bookend.
A
Good
kid eating
callback.
something?
Kid
Oh,
ate
yeah.
something.
Kid
They
ate
laughed
something.
about
Yeah.
I
it.
feel like there's a kid that eats something in every episode or something.
could be.
There was old lady that fell, aka Beverly.
Oh yeah, Beverly fell a couple times or something.
There was Wang Payne, old man. He broke his
Oh.
penis.
Yeah,
Great.
gross old man.
And then there was wedding fight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that lady? That lady is from an iconic show. Was she in Taxi? I'm
don't
gonna look
know.
it up. You keep going.
It's a mother-in-law and a bride that got into a fight at a wedding.
Yeah.
They're
And there
both being treated.
and then there was many more cases that also
And
happened.
didn't
many
say-
more.
You didn't say the Ernest Bergnine one where his wife dies.
Oh yeah, there was
They
also
came back to that a lot.
there was also dead wife and
Ernest
old sad
Bergnine's
husband.
great. R.I.P.
And we had a bunch of new characters. There was Angela Bassett of 911 fame. There was
Not what she's famous for.
sexy accent doctor. I don't know what his name was. He had an accent and he was sexy.
Yeah, was he British or something?
His name was Simon Brenner in the show.
Australian.
David Lyons.
There was Gilmore Girl doctor.
Oh, I wrote her name down.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Julia Wise. Alexis Bledel.
There was Dr. John Stamos doctor.
Don't know what his name is.
And then there was Linda Cardellini doctor. I don't know what her name. I don't know what any of these doctors' names were.
Linda Cardellini. Oh, yeah. Wasn't her name like Sam or something?
Oh, her name was Sam. She got a car from her son.
She
Her
was in
16-year-old
Taxi.
son gave her a car, which seems the
Well,
reverse.
Stamos helped him,
Yeah,
quote unquote, put it to build a Mustang.
They did. We did see them paint it.
Which is pretty dope.
And then there was a redheaded doctor guy.
Yeah, what? Scott Grimes. No, that's his real name. Dr. Archie Morris. That's more.
So I mean, this episode had more story. Like it definitely.
Oh, for sure.
It definitely was like I mean,
More connected.
it was
It's
more connected,
actual plot.
but it still was like really broken up with like a lot of it would go on little spats of like 3 or 4 people coming in and like being broken and needing doctor assistance,
Mm-hmm.
and then it would take like a 10-minute break of like Dr. Carter going to drinks with all the old doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing. So it was a little bit more story. I mean, maybe it's also for me. It was like I was like, is this just easier to watch because it just looks better because it's 15 years newer and it's 2009 and TV is now in 1080p and not,
Maybe.
not old. Joe, did you love it?
It was fine. I mean, this is like what this finale was, at least what I would expect a typical episode of ER to be.
I mean, as far as I know, there's one kind of episode of VR.
Yeah, where it's just, there's a mess of stuff going on and there's a little bit of character development and a little bit of through plot. And that's what I kind of expect most of ER to be. I guess I expected more from the finale of there being some sort of finality to this and not just like another set of mini stories.
I mean, the only thing that seemed
Yeah.
like it was kind of like a passing of the torch and moving on was that Dr. Green from the first episode, like his daughter's now 22, and she was like applying to be
Applying for an internship. I think. Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
hospital.
So some full circle, but not really. Yeah, and I guess and then one of the docs was like showing a new group of like interns around.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no finality really, but
I guess
some full circle
like
kinda
Dr. Carter
moments.
opens up that private practice, right? Medical center,
Yeah.
named after
And
his
I mean,
kid.
and I mean, who knows what he's been doing, but
Mhm.
also like he's starting his like private practice in a way,
Mm-hmm.
but he's like so like, oh, I want to like help here still kind of thing. Like it almost seemed like he was like getting pulled back into the hospital.
Yeah.
So it was like, are you finishing this? Or are you trying to like pull him back in and like create a spinoff?
Yeah, he doesn't have to be a doctor at his practice. He can hire people to do that. Also, that practice, it wasn't like a private like it was a super nice facility, and it had kind of some callback kind of feeling to Dr. Green like walking around a nice facility.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like he's like, yeah, this is all for poor.
Yeah, it was for
people.
underprivileged.
So like this is like a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Not a private.
Yeah.
Not like what you'd expect. Like
It was like what it was, but the opposite. Like, let's provide good health care for people that can't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah. So
you're watching this show?
And I guess another thing to note is, I mean, we've mentioned it that there's a lot of new doctors, but it is somewhat interesting that, so like Dr. Carter is still there and seems like a main character, but otherwise it seems like most of the other cast turned over.
I mean, yeah, it seems like they all turned over. There was Dr. Benton was there because he was like visiting Carter's new thing and
Right.
went out for drinks and that.
He was in the opening credits, but I wonder if he just had like a smaller role at this point or something.
Yeah, maybe he might have been kind of a little bit involved, but and then the lady who had the lung guy, I forget what her name was in the show.
I don't know.
But she was in the first episode, and she was around like, I used to work here. So there was some old, but that seems like both of those were just kind of cameo appearances for the last episode.
It seems like the core is really like John Stamos and
Linda Cardellini
and the ginger doctor and
and that girl doctor who was like, I hate this.
yeah. Which is, it's something. It keeps it fresh, but it also makes it not as cohesive from beginning to end.
Do you think what do you think the time differentiate from getting Stamos or from losing Clooney to getting Stamos is in this show? You think they crossed
Time?
paths? Like, do you think
Oh.
they crossed paths, or do you think like they lost Clooney, waited a season, and got Stamos?
Yeah, I bet.
Clooney was long gone.
I think they lost Clooney, and they're like, it's okay, we got Dr. Green.
And then 6 seasons happened, and then they
Yeah.
were like, we're in season 10. We really need somebody.
Yeah.
And then Fuller House was done, so they got Stamos.
From a quick glance at the Wikipedia, it seems like they were starting to rotate out cast members like pretty early on, actually,
Mm-hmm. So maybe that was just part of the
which is crazy to me.
aesthetic of the show, is that it's just essentially, you're just gonna rotate people in and out. Like it's a somewhat almost like an anthology. Like you
I
just
mean,
Yeah.
also
pass it on.
like you said earlier, Jimmy, you kind of got it confused or kept thinking about maybe soap opera-y stuff like General Hospital or whatever.
Mhm.
I mean, if that's the case, I mean, I guess a lot of people in soap operas, like, a couple main characters stay for 10 years
Mhm.
kind of thing. But I feel like in a soap opera, you tell someone's story and then you like kill
Move
them
on.
or get them rid of, and you move on
Yeah.
and you get new
And
characters.
they come back like 5 seasons
yeah.
later, and you're like, oh man, that guy, or whatever.
Yeah, well, and then they're like, I'm his twin.
You're just doing a Friends thing.
Yeah, but
Okay.
like but like you can do that kind of stuff. So I mean, I wouldn't be
Ramore.
surprised that ER maybe did something like that where
Mhm.
they were
Yeah.
just like if they're getting rid of stars early on, because I bet a lot of people, Clooney was in this for a couple years, maybe
Mhm.
2 years, 3 years. I don't know how long he was in there,
I'll
but
try to look.
and then he was like, dude, I'm huge. I'm in a movie called Up in the Air. I'm robbing casinos in Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
I feel like we've said Ocean's 11 a lot. When did that movie actually come out?
I was the brother in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I was Batman in
There.
one of the Batmans. I'm
There
George
are
Clooney, but I don't remember
so
which
many
Batman.
episodes.
George Clooney and Robin.
There are so many episodes of this show. So, Alex Kingston, who was the lady who had at the end, so Dr. Benton was in just a little bit of this.
Mm-hmm.
He at the dinner with them with the
Yeah.
Yeah.
other people, and then he had like a weird sexually charged will they won't they moment with the British lady at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And her name is Alex Kingston, and she is River Song in Doctor Who. Doctor Who fans would freak out about that.
I didn't.
Right, because obviously. I was just paging through the all cast of the IMDb. That lady was in 160 episodes of this show.
So
Good
she's
for
in it.
There are
Good
just
for her.
so many. I mean, and she's not like a big, like actress,
Mhm.
Like people, like smaller characters are in this for Linda Cardellini, 126 episodes of ER.
Mm-hmm.
I
Did
mean,
you have any idea?
George Clooney was in 109 episodes.
Yeah. How many
And that's
episodes of
on
the
the
of the
low
show?
side.
Like 300?
330.
331.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was in a third of the show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it says 94 to 2009, so he definitely made a reprisal in the last season.
Sure.
But he, unfortunately for us, spoiler, wasn't in the last episode.
The redheaded Ed Sheeran guy was in 112 episodes of this.
Mm-hmm.
Man, how much money do you think you make after being in 100 episodes of a ER show?
A bunch of money.
The
Can I say a bunch? Is
the
accurate?
Wikipedia also said that TNT paid like $1 million per episode to air reruns or something. It was like the highest ever after it ended.
Yeah. I feel like I remember something
to
about
get
that.
a show.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. This show was a big deal.
People are watching ER reruns.
I guess.
I don't know, man. People watch Office reruns. Why wouldn't people watch like ER reruns? People love everybody loves something.
I guess if I were to,
If
Everybody loves something. Hopefully,
I would love to fall in love with a show that is 300 episodes long, because you just have enough
You have, Josh. We've talked
Oh
about
yeah,
it.
it's called Supernatural. Actually, I'm wondering how many episodes that show is now. You just have show to watch for your whole life.
Sure.
Really.
And I was gonna say maybe part of it is that because it's so like each episode is just a mess of stories.
Supernatural is 327 episodes right now.
Like maybe it makes it such that it makes it an easier drama to watch because you don't need to figure out what's going on episode to episode. You just sort of dropped in and then you get a bunch of little mini stories. And in that sense, like it kind of works in the same way that a comedy does, where you don't need to pay attention to every little single thing.
I mean, if most episodes of this show
Interesting.
are typical compared to what we've seen in the first and last, and since like the first and last really don't seem much different, I couldn't imagine that a lot of them are probably similar to that. I mean, there's story heavy episodes I'm sure somewhere, but for the most part it's probably just like them interacting and whatever. So
You get to see doctors handle stressful situations.
So this probably show works probably really well, like The Office or Parks and Rec or like any random like sitcom. Whereas like I'm making dinner, I just want to throw something on. You really don't even need to pay that much attention to the show. What's going on? You're gonna get the gist of it. Oh,
Stay tuned in though.
that lady got stabbed.
That's what's weird to
that
me.
dude
though.
broke his arm.
You could be folding laundry and just soaking it in.
You just gotta watch the show that Stamos shows up in, and you need to watch the show Clooney leaves in. Like it's only
doing
one
the
episode.
Ironing. Oh, it's ER time. Turn the TV on, because for several seasons of this show, like 30 million people are turning this on.
I'd like to. What
I want to meet some ER fans from the mid '90s. And be like, explain to me what drew you in week after week.
I mean, I know you say like 30 million, but it is pretty crazy to think about like when we're in the early 2000s, which is like, YouTube's not here yet. I think YouTube was created in like 2006 or something like that.
Seems about right. 5 or 6.
But if you're taking 2000, like you're taking 1999 of this show, you're getting, I'm looking at Wikipedia right now, you're getting 28 to 32 million people watching every single episode 1 through 22 of season 6, 1999 to 2000. But then as you're heading in to 2007, 2008, you're going down. You're literally 2006 to 2007. It starts at 15 million and it goes down to 9 million. Then it goes down to 8 million. Then it goes down to 8 to 7 million, which is still a lot.
Which is still a incredible amount of people.
Still a lot and amazing.
And it's after that long of a show, I feel like that's fairly normal.
Sure. And I mean, today, by any means, any show today that's on the air that's getting 9 million people watching it weekly is busting. Like, it's amazing. So I mean, obviously people love it and they still liked it, and most people and a lot of people stuck with it. But just like the advent of like how the TV worked with like internet coming on, and then once things start giving you more options, even a show like this, like, you can't keep people.
Yeah, at least in like appointment viewing, right?
Right.
And a lot of people are gonna watch stuff later, or
and I don't know if this is taking in just Nielsen or if it's doing DVR downloads or rewatches, or how long this takes. It's just maybe point of view when it was on TV.
Yeah, that's what I would think too. Yeah, people watching it live.
But
just for a point of reference, Supernatural in 2005 opened to 5.7 million.
And that's awesome. It was and that's like its first season, right?
Yeah, and that was
I like this is the app,
probably its highest.
The app
season.
comparison is Supernatural, which is also 15 seasons long.
Yeah, but it started around the time that ER ended.
Yeah,
to a third of.
It started a couple years before ER ended,
fanfare.
and it has kept going on through the era of streaming and the decline of cable.
Yeah, I think probably one thing in particular I'd like to talk about from this episode. the last scene is they get a call about some emergency. I even forget what it was. It was a building explosion or something.
Building
I think
explosion.
so.
Where there's a lot of people that are going to come into the hospital, and they all like put on their like whatever. It's not scrubs, but it's like the stuff that goes over the scrubs, and go wait in like
Scrub
the loading
poncho.
bay for like all the ambulances to come in.
Yep.
And then they're gonna go and like triage these patients, like figure out what's wrong, and send them off to rooms, right? And all the doctors will get like real hyped about this. Like you can see it in their eyes.
They
They're like,
looked excited.
yeah. And then even
There was
like,
some excitement,
especially what's her name, Rachel Green, who is the like
Dr. Green's daughter.
yeah, and is like not a real doctor there, but is like kind of just like shadowing, and she's all like, yeah, this is what I want to
Well,
do.
one doctor was like, "This is what we live for."
Yeah,
but
that's
no,
like weird and gross, right? Am I wrong about that?
no. I thought it was weird and gross too, and it was because it was like there was a thing where it's like, okay, we do it. This is what we are in for, and it could have gone one of two ways. It could have gone the weird and gross way that they went, where everyone seemed like really excited for all the dead.
I mean, I think there's
dead
probably
hurt
a
people to
rush.
come in.
Yeah, right.
Well, no, I mean, obviously,
I don't think they're excited that people are injured.
No, well, they were like smiling,
Yeah, they were
heavy,
smiling.
and like they looked.
There was some drool. It was weird.
Dude, they looked happy. There's a difference between like
Stamos was licking his lips.
there's a difference between like the endorphins are like crushing, like when you
Yeah.
and you're like getting pumped, and,
And
you're
this
like,
is something they're good at,
and
right?
you're
And they
good
know
at,
they're gonna do a good
and you're
thing.
gonna help, but they're like excited for it.
Yeah.
Whereas like they didn't like. Dude, when people play football, they don't have these big ass smiles. They have a game face
Yeah.
on. I was expecting a game face.
Yeah, like this is where we get serious.
We're
We need
getting
to like.
serious. We're gonna get down to it. But
Yeah.
they were like, dead people,
There's-
blood. Let's do it.
There's kind of a feeling that when the call came in, it wasn't like, oh no, what a terrible thing that happened. It was like, oh, finally something's going on. Let's go do this.
Yeah, it was. I thought that too.
Yeah.
Jimmy did not think that apparently.
Maybe and maybe some of that is just this is a TV show, and of course we're gonna accentuate like the exciting parts of this, but I don't know. In other shows like St. Elsewhere and even like MASH,
In Scrubs, the
Scrubs?
comedy.
yeah, they accentuate that like this
Sure.
is a hard job. You deal with a lot of like secondary trauma,
Yeah, it's messed
and
up.
like especially in the ER, it's real messed up. You see a lot of messed up stuff.
This is interesting, but now that I just said Scrubs, it is interesting to think that watching 2 episodes of this show, it's a lot. This show had a lot more time in it, but the basically hour of First and Last in Scrubs and the 3 hours of First and Last in ER, Scrubs I feel like had more weight to it.
Sure.
Yeah. There was something too about Scrubs though that the like comedy accentuated that. They were good at the dramatic turn, when stuff got serious. They were
the
really
Frasier
good
type
at
turn on
the
comedy.
Frasier turn. Yeah. Wait, is this
Kelsey
it's not
Grammer
funny
invented
anymore?
that
Okay,
turn.
now it's not funny anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean
Something to that.
I agree, but yeah, that was weird for me too.
I hear you.
All in all, I think this last episode was pretty similar to the first one. The first one didn't make me want to keep watching the show, and this last one isn't getting me to watch ER.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about these like hour and a half long episodes
no.
where I don't feel like there's probably the same amount of plot in the 45-minute episode.
Sure.
They just toss a lot more patience.
I don't think if you cut this in half or you make this a 30-minute show, that I mean, I don't think it's time that did it for it. That does it for me. I mean, it's too long. But I don't think it's time. I just think it's like, okay, whatever.
I did see on the Wikipedia that they did a live episode,
Oh, I'll watch that one.
and I'm real intrigued to see
that one.
because on the IMDb, it was IMDb trivia that said that like during the live episode they had a couple like extra actors like ready in case there was some sort of like technical malfunction in any scene where they could just like cut over to that scene and like use that. But they ended up not having it or not needing it.
I want to watch
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
but I want to watch it for the shock
Seems like
factor.
a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of walking and talking.
Did Arrested Development do a lot? No, they did a live episode. They did live in the last 3 seconds of one episode.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was that. Any more stuff we should talk about before we get into predictions?
Nassim Pedrad was in this.
Who's
She's
that?
great.
I mean, I know who I saw her, but I don't know who that is.
She's in a lot of stuff. Was she on SNL?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I feel like she's in a lot of those movies of like SNL bits turned into movies. She's in a lot of comedies. I know that. Because
Okay.
she was in like that John Mulaney. There was like a pilot of a John Mulaney show. She was in that. Anyway, she's
Wasn't
funny.
it called like Mulaney?
She was in was she in Parks and Rec? No, she was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
You would know that.
Yeah, she's very funny. She's a very funny person.
Okay.
That's all I got. I guess.
All right. Well, number one, I'll just knock it off for everybody. Clooney is not back.
No.
Surprising. Really surprising. They
Mhm.
got everybody
Makes me
else,
sad.
it seemed almost. They couldn't land the
He
Cloons.
couldn't be
It
bothered.
sounds like they got him for that last season,
They couldn't get Major Big.
which, like, at that point, why not just, like, put him in the finale? I don't know.
He was filming Ocean's 13.
Hmm.
Someone eats a sandwich. No,
No.
that redheaded doctor wolfed down a piece of pizza, but I did not see a
I
sandwich.
think he had a burrito later.
Well, he asked
Yeah.
I think I said Dr. Ross goes to private practice. If I would have wrote Carter there, I could have argued.
Mm-hmm.
But nope, Dr.
Yeah.
Ross did not exist.
I think you meant Dr. Green.
I did mean Dr. Green.
Wrong
I think
either way.
it doesn't matter. I'm wrong. And then I said it would end with going to sleep / being woken up. And actually, the show began the same way,
Yeah.
As the
called back to
pilot.
it. Mm-hmm.
but it did not end that way.
Yeah.
Right.
So I will take a 0. It is the same amount.
I did see in the trivia that the first words of the first episode and the last words of the last episode were Dr. Green.
Wait. Oh, because of the daughter.
Yeah, he
Dr.
refers to
Green.
the daughter as Dr. Green. And that's
Wait.
the last words of the episode.
I
That's pretty
swear
s-
at the
that's
very
pretty
beginning
cool.
of the first, and I asked you, Joe,
Mm-hmm.
right away in the first part of the episode, and Jimmy, I don't know if you heard it, but I feel like the guy was sleeping. It was the red-haired dude, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his name was Dr. Morris.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I swear the nurse came in and said, Dr.
Dr.
Green?
Green at first, yeah.
Dr. Morris? Doctor
Mhm.
Morris? Like she said Dr. Green.
Like out of
first.
habit.
Mhm.
Like it was, because that's exactly what happened in the first episode.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wait, did they? And then she said Dr. Morris. And I was
Mhm.
like, Joe, did they say Dr. Green?
I heard Green.
That's pretty fun because I think it was the same nurse.
yeah, it was the same lady.
Because then they made note of it, like, why are you still working here? And she's like, oh, I like the hours. I get to babysit my grandkids during the day or something.
Yeah. So I think
pretty
they
fun.
did it, and I thought that was fun. I mean, I'm like that they're having fun.
That's
with the
cool. I didn't
callbacks.
even catch that.
It was fast.
That's subtle.
In addition to the Clooney prediction I had, the hospital's on fire, which we did not. I had that we see a dino, which we did not have. And then I said the Chicago skyline, which there's like a B-roll shot at the end where they're just like zooming out of the hospital, but it didn't get far enough out to see a
I saw
skyline.
no sky.
There's like
no
a
sky.
little bit of a skyscraper.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Like 0.25.
I feel like I would have given it points if it was like you had to have known that it was Chicago, and from that, like you wouldn't be able to tell.
I mean, not a lot of cities have L trains like that.
I meant
That
like
was
I meant like of the skyline
Yeah,
building.
yeah.
Like
Well,
you'd have to be like that's the Sears Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we didn't see that.
Yeah.
Interesting. But the L trains, that's pretty, like, I feel like that's pretty iconic.
Yeah, that's
Chicago, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't get it, Jimmy.
No
Move
points.
on.
Okay,
Stop trying
that's
to give
fine.
Joe
That's
points.
fine. That's fine. I had Green as divorced. Didn't see him at all. I had him as the head of ER. Didn't see it at all. Carter is the Dr. Green. And I think I meant that as like he's like,
Like
the
the
main
main-
character, but it don't.
I feel like Stamos is the main character.
Yeah. Or even the red-haired doctor,
There wasn't
because he was the head of the
really
triage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he was the guy waking up from the nap.
Yeah, and he was the doctor. He was
Yeah.
actually the Dr. Green
Yeah.
in that
Sure,
way.
yeah. That's what I thought at the beginning. Okay, and then the Clooney cameo.
And no
So,
Clooney.
Clooney-o.
big old goose eggs.
Well, guys, we all suck at predicting what's happening in a 15 episode season. A 15-year,
Unpredictable.
15-year series.
Yeah.
Next 15-year series comes May 18th when Supernatural ends.
Cool.
Tune in then to First and Last.
Oh, I'm excited, guys. Joe, do you know what our plan is for that?
For Supernatural.
We're gonna watch the last episode together.
Oh, okay.
What date is that?
I'm gonna have
Like Game of
watched.
Thrones.
I'm gonna have watched all of them up until then. But
Damn. I have not seen a single episode. I've seen
It's an event.
some previews at the end of other CW shows.
it's gonna all be
It's like
good.
Brothers, isn't it?
The Brothers Winchester.
Okay.
It's like brothers.
I confused that Supernatural and Riverdale, I think, because the two, like, because
Riverdale.
all CW shows, they just put their little, like, 10-second, like, ads for their next, like, shows at the end.
Oh,
of...
you see it after the superhero shows.
Yeah, I watched after all the Flareoverse
Yeah.
shows. Which, if you watch those,
Which when
oof,
which if ever
at me.
if those ever end, Jimmy will make us watch those. So
Yeah, I think technically Arrow is ending.
well,
I think technically it ended.
find out soon, listeners. If you want to give us show suggestions or tell us why we should like ER, you can hit us up at F&L Podcast on the Gmail or on the Twitter.
Mhm.
This has been a very long episode. We thank you for listening. We'll see you next week on another episode of First and Last. Thank you and good. Bye.
So you guys watching this?
We already said no.
I'm totally gonna watch St. Elsewhere now.